It's 5:30. We need to call the public hearing to order. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the public hearing. For the purpose of tonight's hearing is to receive public comments in regards to the establishment of the local ordinance district for the Harrison Courthouse Square Historic District. This hearing is an opportunity for the citizens of Harrison's, property owners, and other stakeholders to share their thoughts, to ask questions, and to express concerns or support for the regarding this ordinance. No final decision will be made tonight but we will take careful consideration into all public input that's received. There's a sign-up sheet in the back. Anyone wishing to speak in regards to this issue, please print your name legibly, and we will ask those listed to speak in order as received. We would like for comments to be limited to 3 minutes per speaker, and all comments need to be directed to this commission. We ask that when you come up to the podium that you please state your name. And then if you are a building owner in the historic district, it would be nice if you would at least indicate that. Wade, do you have I think you have a presentation that you would like to give outlining this, and then we'll start the public hearing after.
Yeah, just a brief, not too many slides, just to provide a little bit of info for those that have not come to the Historic District Commission meetings or been at council when we've talked about it in the past. No, it's also not a presentation.
There it goes.
Walk over every time. As Chairman Brown stated, the purpose of this is to, take comments from the public, answer questions if you have some about what a local ordinance district is. So I'm going to go over a little bit, pretty high level presentation. I'm not getting into too much detail, but want to hit some certain high points. Make sure that people understand what type of rules there would be and what there wouldn't be as far as what would be impacted. The historic district, is the Harrison Courthouse Square Historic District. It was put on the National Register in 1999. Any type of district listing on the register is an honorary listing. It does not come with any specific requirements that are enforced by the federal, state, or even the local government. There's 64 buildings in the district. 49 of them contribute to the district. And when we talk about contributing versus non-contributing, those contributing structures are the ones that add to the historic value of the district. And so, as we lose those, we can have a loss of that listing. The threshold is 50%. Right now, we're not close to that. But we have lost structures that were contributing, whether it's fire, demolition in the past. And then we probably had several buildings that once it goes through a resurvey are likely not going to be considered contributing because of modifications to the exterior of the building. And one thing I do want to make sure everybody understands when we're talking about a historic district and any type of rules that might come into play down there, we're only talking about the exterior. I'll hit that point a couple more times as we go through. This is an image of the district. So the buildings that are in yellow are those that contribute. Those that are in red, those are the ones that were listed as not contributing to the district when it was listed back in 1999, just to give you a quick snapshot. So a local ordinance district is one that is adopted by, for us, it would be a city or a county, local government entity. And the goal is to protect the district through a design review process. And again, that only pertains to the exterior of the buildings. It's not like individually listed buildings where you've got rules on what you can do with the inside of it. So the impact, and most of this I've taken from the local ordinance district report, which is available online for review. The impact of adopting a local district is obviously preservation of the historic character of our downtown, of that area, compatible infill development, because then it would impact the exterior design on any buildings that are added within the district so that they are consistent with the architectural and the time period of what's important in the district. Fewer vacant buildings. One of the main purposes that got me involved with the historic district and the idea of locally adopted rules and regulations would be that it does simplify navigating floodplain rules for those buildings that do contribute to the district. I'm not getting into too much detail, but we can exempt contributing buildings from a lot of those floodplain rules that have held back redevelopment in downtown. We can exempt those contributing buildings as long as the work that's done does not render those buildings contributing going forward. So again, we would have to make sure that the exterior of the building still matches, is still considered contributing to the district before we could exempt the building from those FEMA regulations. Path approval. First step was creating the Historic District Commission. We have a few of the members here tonight, so if you cannot make it, then we developed this report, which is what's basically being presented and we're seeking comment from. The draft of the report is submitted to the Arkansas Historic Preservation Program and the Harrison Planning Commission. That step has taken place. Arkansas Historic Preservation has concurred with the report, as has the Planning Commission. Our current step right now is to present the report, take public comment, is where we're at today. And then after that, comments received tonight, comments received in writing. We have received comments from the fire department and building code. Some good information that will get incorporated into the report. And then anything that we receive between now and when the Planning Commission, or not the Planning, the Historic District Commission meets again, then those comments will be addressed, discussed, and if there's changes necessary to the report, they will be made then. Once the commission finalizes the report, it will be presented to council. If council concurs with the report, then they will adopt an ordinance to it's like about a late 60s, early 70s music video. At that point is when the council would start considering the ordinance to adopt the local historic district. Following that, we would have to develop design guidelines. That will take a little bit because we won't do that necessarily internally. We'll actually have to bring in consultants that have much more experience in developing these guidelines. And the guidelines are not a cookie cutter thing that they just take from city to city. They have to be based off of our district, our downtown, the way it was built, the architectural styles that were used over those years. review and approval will apply to major exterior alterations, additions to buildings, new construction in the district, as well as demolitions. Because keep in mind, the goal is to maintain the historic character in the downtown area. And so basically what the commission would approve at that point is what they call a certificate of appropriateness. That would be your permit to make alterations to the exterior of the building in the district. Which would actually be the permit that would allow you to get other building permits going beyond that. What it does not apply to is ordinary maintenance. If you're just fixing something and you're not changing the materials and the appearance of the outside of that building, you do not have to come to the commission. It does not affect paint color. We don't care. If it's already painted and you want to change the color, we don't care. I will point out, unpainted brick and unpainted stone is something that would have to require an approval from the commission if you were going to go ahead and paint over it. But again, color doesn't matter. Any work required by the fire department, building code people for public safety, that would not require prior approval, because if it needs to be done, it needs to be done for the sake of public safety. And again, this does not cover interior work inside buildings. And that's really all I wanted to get into. There is a website up there that you can go look at. There's a whole bunch of information on that. It's going into a lot more detail than I did right now. And I've already gone a minute longer than I planned. So I'll step back and we can start taking comments.
Good. Thank you, Wade. Well, with that being said, we can begin the public hearing. James, do you have a first person is Connie Cash Gray. Come up to the podium, please.
My name is Connie Cash Gray. My family owns some property within this district. And I have questions rather than comments, and I'm not sure exactly, other than to Wade, who to address those questions to. My biggest concern, I think, was a non-contributing buildings. And if these go back to the original 1999 designation, are those ever upgraded to contributing criteria? Because when I was reading what was on the internet, the biggest advantage to the community as far as property owners was the flexibility in the floodplain issues, and non-contributing buildings did not qualify for any of those considerations. And so that was my main question. The other thing was if the district would be eligible for expansion moving forward, and what would be regarding the expansion or buildings that were into that expansion area, and how that would play out. I guess those are my two main questions. The other one was there any there was in regards to grant money on the National Historic Register. You can apply for grant money on modifications and improvements. I didn't see anything in regards to anything that would relate to buildings. I think there were only 2 that are on the National Historic Register right now within this district, from what I read. Yes. And that is there a tax incentive for property owners, whether it's just county. I know the city bought one of the buildings on this district, and there's a major incentive it being applied to that acquisition and renting of that building to the people that are just put their sign up on it. I didn't know if there was any of those type of incentives that were going to be available to other private property owners rather than just the city. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Yeah. Does it make?
non-contributing structures that were built during the period of significance, and if we can document what those looked like prior to modifications that made them non-contributing, yes, there is a pathway to bring a non-contributing structure back to being contributing.
May I do a follow-up? Is, in classifications of when they were originally, distinguished between contributing and non-contributing, was that basically based on age? Or is that on architectural, specification?
It would be both, 1999. So when you're looking at a historic district listing, you're looking 50 years prior and older. So 1999 back to 1949. So anything built after 49 right now, would not necessarily, it's not something we could make, we don't have a good path to get that contributed. Now, very significant event happened after 1949 that impacted that. We're now 50 years past that. So as if we put this in play, some of the discussion has been go back, do resurveys, do a resubmittal to the Department of the Interior to expand that period of significance, so that we can actually pull several other buildings that were after the 49 timeline and start making those contributing. Because in all reality, that was probably the most significant thing to change downtown in its existence. The district, so there would be a pathway for expansion. That would require votes at that point. My understanding is if we want to do any expansion of the local district beyond what's listed on the National Register, it would require actually a public vote at that point. So right now, what we're doing 100% matches the national listing. Other paths could be if at a national level that district expands, then we could also expand the district just to stay consistent with what's listed on the National Register.
And grant money.
There is grant money that would be available to the city to help with downtown redevelopment. With it being a historic district, what's mostly available to private property owners would be those historic tax credits. And it would help that process a little bit as far as being eligible on those contributing structures. And then even I think there would be some opportunity for non-contributing structures receiving tax credits on the work that was, to rehabilitate it and restore it to where it could be contributed.
Thank you, Wade. Next person is Mitch Magnus. No comment. Donna Bramer.
No, sir, I'm just signing that we get attended.
Okay. Larry Phillips. Josh Earl. Carly Pierce. Eddie Bartlett.
Thank you for the opportunity to address the council and the committee. I'm in favor of this. So to give you a little background, I do own a property that's adjacent to the district. I do own a property that's currently in the district that Main Street, Harrison, encompasses. I'm currently the chairman of the board for the Main Street Harrison group. And Ms. Connie, back to your comment about some grant money. That is really why Main Street Harrison exists. This district is very important to us. It's important to many people in this room. We know we need targeted improvement, and there will be some grant money available through Main Street Harrison for some targeted and structured improvements to this district. I understand where you're coming from the adjacent properties, because I know where your property exists and it's just outside this district. So it's important to me as well. One of the questions I do have for the committee, and maybe for Wade, is we talked about age. Do we know what age each structure is in the downtown area?
You have either a definite age or within the district, we know, some of them are in the circa, right? So we know close to where he was, a lot of them, And all that information was gathered when this listing was created.
The reason I ask that is there's several properties that kind of match that historic district motif that are outside. And so with that being said, you know, those entities, I understand we might have to go to public, vote in order to expand that, but those tax credits are important to all of us that, potentially could qualify, and I currently don't qualify. So, but I'm in great support of this. I will speak from what I do know. This helps us keep decisions local. It helps us move at a speed that is not government based, but is more local based. So this is something I think, this is something I know we need greatly. Thank you so much for letting me speak.
Thank you, Eddie. Beverly DeWitt.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm Beverly DeWitt. My husband and I own the building downtown that houses Selling 726 Realty, Country Meadow, and just recently the Early Bird Boutique. I'm very much in favor of this historic commission. My building is a 1930 building. It is on the very top of it. And we need guidance. I just have to be honest. We need guidance about what windows we need to have. I recently received a bid for $55,000 for wooden windows. I need to know if that's what we need. Do we need vinyl windows? If vinyl are not appropriate, we don't want to put those up. I have a great passion for the square. That's the reason we bought that building. It's because we love the square. And I'm doing everything I can to help it be successful. But I do agree we need guidance for everyone there that owns a building and those that are renting, that we don't make the mistake and paint something that shouldn't be painted or put windows in there that are not appropriate. So it will be great to have some local guidance on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Beverly. Is there anybody here that has not signed up that would like to speak in regards to or? Well, I guess, I'd like to thank everybody who made comments this evening, and your input is very important to this commission, and we will take every question or comment seriously, and we'll go from there. So, but I do want everybody to understand this commission is here is to manage change thoughtfully. And we're not here to hinder or anything, but we have a very unique downtown area. Very fortunate to have a downtown area that we do. There's many communities that just are falling apart, have vacancies left and right, and we're very lucky to have, I would say, close to 90% vacancy, or maybe not more. So, and Mayor Jackson has made a point to that this is a very important downtown to us. So with that being said, I will close this public hearing.